Hey all, welcome to Unit 1. So for the video this week, I'm going to explain everything that you need to do, and it's going to be a little bit more detailed and granular than upcoming videos because this is the first time that you've done this. So I want to reiterate one more time that you're going to see dates in this video that might not correspond to when you are taking the course. That is okay. Don't panic. You might be in the June course or in the July course. Just make sure that you're paying attention to the dates that you see in Blackboard and not the dates that you see in this video. Okay? All right, so right now I'm under the Lessons tab. So you'll see this little menu pop up with Unit 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully you've already watched the introductory video that explained the introductions discussion board. If you haven't done that yet, stop this video, go back and watch the introductory video that I sent last week, and make sure that you finish the introductions discussion board for your first 10 points of class. That will be due at the end of this unit, and it's an easy way to make sure that you're out ahead of the point totals. It's an easy 10 points. Make sure you do that. Okay, so since we're talking about Unit 1, I'm going to click on Unit 1 Class. Now, you'll see these dates right here, and that's important for you to know and understand. That's the beginning of the unit, so hopefully when you're watching this video, as well as the end of the unit, which is when you need to make sure everything that is due for that unit is submitted. Okay? So for Unit 1, we're going to read a short story by George Saunders called Puppy, and it deals with the ideas of social class, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a second. So after you read the story, you're going to watch some Crash Course videos. If you're not familiar with Crash Course, they're awesome. They'll cue you in a little bit more to what I mean when we're talking about things like social class. And it'll really kind of help you prime your answers, ideas, and thoughts as you move into the discussion board posts. So, gotta sneeze. Pause. Allergies. Okay, so as you examine all the text and resources, I want you to think about these two primary characters that are in the story. And there are two characters. Lots of times students will read this story and they totally miss how the story is transitioning between two different perspectives. Make sure you catch that, okay? One of the characters is wealthier, while one of the characters is not. They have two completely differing perspectives in the story, and that difference of opinion and ideas and perspective, that's where the discussion of social class starts to come to fruition for George Saunders in this story. And they don't understand each other. They don't understand each other. So what I want you to think about is, do you feel that this lack of understanding resonates as a truism that ripples throughout our American lives, or is the separation that Saunders sees one of his own making? Is there really a difference between the wealthy and the not so wealthy? Are these characters fundamentally different? What do they have in common? These are all the types of questions that I want you to think about. And then primarily, what does this mean for you? So how has your own socioeconomic context, and what I mean by that is your own social standing in your community, in terms of how much money you have, the types of people you hang out with, how has that sense of identity influenced the way in which you see people who are different? So if you see yourself as someone who is not very wealthy, how do you see people that are really wealthy? And if you are wealthy, how do you see people that are not that wealthy? I want you to use all these questions to lead you into your discussion board posts specifically about social class for this unit. So if you need help, here's where office hours comes into play. I will be available from noon to 2 every single weekday on Google Hangouts. So if you click on Google Hangouts, there's going to be an explanation of how you can access all these things. So just go through this PowerPoint. It should be super simple for you to make sure that you can get in touch with me. And you can put it on your phone, which makes it really easy because we can have an audio discussion. You can look at my beautiful face and we can have a video conversation, or what a lot of students feel comfortable with, it's just kind of like a texting situation. So what you have to do is make sure that you add my email address as your contacts. Now this is different from the email address I posted in the syllabus, so make sure that you notice. It's scott.heaton@my.tccd.edu. So make sure you add me as a contact and we can talk audio, video, or texting on Google Hangouts. Okay? So attached below is a recommended schedule for the week. You do not have to follow the schedule. There's no synchronous times. These are just what I would encourage you to do. So here's the short story Puppy by George Saunders, and then the 3 videos that I want you to watch. They're really short. I think they're about 10 minutes apiece, in order just to familiarize yourself with the idea of social class. Okay, so let me tell you how to do the discussion board. If you click on discussion board number 1, Puppy, you'll see down here it says click create thread to see directions. So once you click Puppy, you're not going to see anything there yet until you make your initial post. And then once you do that, you'll start to see the discussion board posts from your peers. And then you can click on them and comment on them as you see fit. Okay, so I'm going to click create thread. And here are your directions. So this week, your guiding question for your discussion board is, how does our social class influence how we view the world? Argue your point using George Saunders' Puppy and your own personal thoughts and experiences. After thoroughly exploring all this week's text and resources, think critically about all the information you've absorbed and craft a detailed, planned response to the reading. Make sure to answer the guiding question using quoted text evidence. You actually have to use quotes from the story itself and specific concrete examples. If it helps, and y'all, it does help, feel free to use the template below in order to flex those writing muscles. Now, this might seem crazy to you. You ready? I literally don't care if you just copy and paste this. Do it. Just copy and paste it, and then copy those blanks and type in your answers. That's it. Now, this is called a template. A lot of students feel really weird about these templates because it feels like they're cheating or something like that. You're not. What I've found is that most students really do know how to think well, and they know how to write well. They just haven't been taught how to organize their thoughts into writing that sounds really good. So the reason why I use templates under discussion board posts is to kind of flex and build those muscles for writing that you might not have worked out in a long time or maybe ever. And that's okay. So I'm using a lot of key phrases and terms and words here to show you, okay, this is how we build body paragraphs. This is how we connect particular ideas, in hopes that you'll wind up expanding on those things and using them in your essay. Okay? So my encouragement to you is, especially if you see yourself as an emerging or even a struggling writer, use this template. It will help flex your muscles. All right? Use it. Just use it. Just use it. Okay. In George Saunders' short story, Puppy, he argues through his 2 primary characters that social class in America blank. Okay? What is he arguing about social class in America? And when you fill in that blank, make sure it sounds like a smooth, free-flowing sentence, right? I don't want to get something that sounds like, in George Saunders' short story, Puppy, he argues through his 2 primary characters that social class in America bad. Right? Be specific. Social class in America is skewed and represents a fundamental misunderstanding between the wealthy and the working class. Something like that. I just made that up. Don't use that. Okay? And there's no right or wrong answer here. So whatever argument that you come up with that you think Saunders is making is fine, as long as you can back it up with the story in your own explanation. Okay? He makes this clear in the scene when blank. So if there's a scene that really stuck out to you, that really highlighted the tensions between social classes, meaning the wealthy and the not so wealthy, give me that scene here. And blank, a character name, says blank. What do they say? What do the characters say that really brought out that tension between social classes? And also when, another character name, and then give me the quote. When, and then you can explain the scene. What was happening there? Give me context. You always want to make sure that you're providing your readers context for quotes. You don't just want to throw out quotes out there. I call them naked quotes. Just throwing about any covering. Because when we see naked things, we're like, whoa, right? Cover them up. Cover them up with context, with who said it, what's going on, why is it important. Always provide context. In sum, these lines from Puppy demonstrate Saunders' belief that our own social economic context determines what. Okay? So think about your own socioeconomic context in terms of the people that you spend time with, whether that's school, church, your community. What is your social standing like? Do you see yourself as really wealthy or not? And how does that shape the way that you view the world? Okay, that's what I want you to answer there. Determines blank by blank. In my own opinion of his worldview, I think blank about social class in America. So what do you think about this tension of social class in America, particularly the way that Saunders is arguing it? Okay? Because blank. Why do you think that way? What in your own personal experiences has led you to that conclusion? And lastly, this is important to our society today because blank. So these ideas about social class differences and struggles and tension, why does any of that matter? What should we do about it? Do you have any solutions, any ideas? How can we move forward? And be specific. Don't say things like, we shouldn't care about how much money people make. We should be nice to everyone. These things shouldn't matter. Right, but they do. And how do we move forward specifically? What ideas do you have? Right? It can't just be like, we should be nice to each other. We should love one another. Right? Like that's not specific, right? That's a non-answer. So think specifically, how do we move forward? If you've got to stop and think about it and research a little bit, do some Google searches, great. Talk to your mom about it. Talk to your friends about it, great. Stop. And along those lines, what I would encourage you to do is whenever you're crafting your discussion board posts or even your comments, I would open up a Word document like Microsoft Word or Google Docs and write it out. That way I can stop and come back to it. Because lots of times Blackboard just deletes stuff, right? And undoubtedly I'll get some sob stories saying, Blackboard deleted everything. And then I'll say, I know, that's why I told you you should work in a Word document. Okay? All right. So now once you've crafted that and pasted it in this box right here, you can submit. And then once you submit, you're going to start to see, whenever you click on the discussion board, you'll start to see your peers submitting their posts as well. Now what you need to do is you need to click on discussion board posts that your peers have posted and respond to them. Now I'm going to encourage you to look for discussion boards that don't have many responses. You want to make sure that everyone's getting responded to. Okay? Now, you must respond to at least 2 classmates. 2. So just to reiterate, for this whole assignment to be done, you have to have 1 initial discussion board post and 2 comments. So 3 things altogether, right? That has to be submitted before the end of this unit for you to be counted present for this week's class, or unit class rather. Does that make sense? If you forget a comment, that's when you'll be marked as absent and you'll get that automated email from WebAdvisor, and then you'll panic even though I've told you over and over again not to. Don't panic. Just make sure that you do all the comments. So give me the comments here and also in that introductory discussion board post so you can be counted present for everything this unit. Okay? So you must respond to at least 2 classmates by assessing what their overall argument was and your opinion of their argument. So you'll say, Billy, I really liked how you said that the differences between social classes is grounded in their ideas that there are fundamentally different people with different values. However, I disagree with your statement because X, Y, and Z. Something like that. Okay? What I want you to do is make sure that you address the argument of your peer. What is it that they're arguing in their posts? A really easy way to do that, and y'all, I'm going to make your life so much easier, is quote them. Copy paste. Copy and paste their words. It will make your post so much better, and it will make sure that you get the full points. Quote them, quote them, quote them, quote them, quote them, quote them, quote them. I have so many students who get lazy here and they just don't quote because they just say, hey bro, I like what you said, it was cool. And then you're like, what? Why didn't I get the full points? And then I'll say, because you didn't say anything. All you said was good job. You didn't engage with their ideas. You didn't even tell me what their argument was. Assess their argument and respond to it. The easiest way to do that is to say, it really struck me when you said, quote, yada, 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 end quote. I think that your idea about this is blank because blank. Perfect way to respond. Okay? Give me your opinion of the argument, and then give me specific real-world examples that support your opinion. Right? So if you say something like, I think this because of my own issues with class, that's not specific. I think this because my values and experiences as a middle-class Hispanic Catholic have led me to believe blank about blank because blank, right? So those are types of things that are specific that help shape our worldviews. A good thing to remember when you're writing is that specifics stimulate and generalities bore. So when you say, my experiences, that's general. That's boring. That puts everyone to sleep. When you say, my experience as an albino giraffe living in southern Louisiana at the time of antebellum. I don't know what I'm talking about. But see how that's stimulating? That's really specific. Be specific. Be specific. Specific stimulate, generalities bore. Now, in order to earn full credit for this assignment, you must demonstrate that you have given a significant effort. If you give me what I call, hey bro posts, you're not going to do well. Hey bro, good job. I like that you said that classism is bad. You're not demonstrating any effort here. Or if you give me general things that I could copy paste onto anyone's discussion board posts, really interesting arguments here. I love what you said. It really got me thinking, wow, I'm going to have to think about this. You're not engaging, right? Like, and my BS meter is like, because let's be honest, English is the most BSable subject, right? You have to make sure that you are engaging with your peers. Show me that you're giving significant effort here. Please make sure that you proofread for grammatical and syntactical errors. Y'all, a big one here, and you'll see this when you get my rubric on essays. I just don't want to be distracted. That's it. I don't want to be distracted. I want to read your work and not be distracted by grammar. I'm not hunting for misplaced commas or, errant spelling. I'm not looking for those things. But when I constantly see the word I in lowercase, or I see words like gonna or kinda, or names not capitalized, or names from the story misspelled, that's distracting and that takes away from your points. So make sure that you proofread it. If you're like me and you're prone to grammatical mistakes, I'm super prone to grammatical mistakes. They're everywhere in my writing. I usually let my wife read it or someone else around read before I submit. Do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Have someone else read your work before you submit it. And reveal that you have a thorough understanding of the text, right? I have lots of students that are like, to be honest, I didn't get it. It's like, okay, do the work, Google it, right? Talk to someone about it. So don't just come out of the gate saying, didn't get it. There's plenty of information you can find on the internet if you don't understand it, right? Give me some effort here. So now these are minimums. These are minimums, right? So your responses are probably going to have more words than this. And if you want to get full credit, they probably will, unless you're just a super efficient, awesome writer. So your initial discussion board post should have 200 words. And if you're using the template, you've already got a lot there already, right? And both of your comments should be at least 100 words, and that should probably be more, honestly, if you're quoting your peers and giving your opinion of the argument and giving specific real-world examples that support your own opinion. Okay? All right. So, all that to say, this discussion board post and the 2 comments are due at the end of your unit, whenever that is. So look at that date right there at the end of the unit at 11:59 p.m. Okay? So make sure that you submit that as well as the introductory post that you can find right here in lessons as well. If you're stuck or confused, make sure you email me or find me on Google Hangouts, and I will chime in with some helpful videos throughout the week. All right, y'all have a great day.